Hi, do you have a hard time getting compliance from your child for a task that they don't want to complete? I'm going to talk today about a strategy called behavioral momentum. This kind of strategy can be helpful for getting a child to comply with something that they don't normally comply with. And it's a strategy where you ask the child to do 2 or 3 very easy to complete tasks before you ask them to complete the more difficult task. And this has been shown to be effective for children who have difficulty with compliance. And this might be a child on the autism spectrum or a child with ADHD or oppositional behavior problems. So the way it would work is that I'm going to first give an example in a classroom. So let's say a child who's in a classroom and the teacher has difficulty getting them to do their assigned classwork for that day, such as complete a worksheet. So for instance, instead of just handing them the worksheet and telling them to do it, the teacher may instead say, would you please put your feet on the floor? The child puts their feet on the floor. Would you please get out your pencil? The child gets out their pencil. The teacher hands them the worksheet and say, please get started on the worksheet. And for a child who tends to be oppositional or finds that kind of thing requires more effort than they're willing to put out, this kind of plan can often get them going. So they've done a couple of things that they've already been asked to do, and then they just go ahead with the thing that is slightly more challenging. Now, the same kind of strategy could be used at home. So for instance, if you're trying to get your child off the computer, and that's often a difficult task, it can be done to where you go into the room where the child is on the computer and you ask them, would you please hand me that Sharpie that's sitting there by your computer because I need to use it? Can you please go get the cookies and give one to your brother and sister and take one for yourself, and then can you please turn off the computer? Okay, so you're asking the child to do 1 or 2 things that are easy for them to do before you ask them for the harder task to be accomplished. And using that strategy can often just get the child in the mode of complying, recognizing that they're just small things and that they're easy to do, and by the time you're up to the 3rd or 4th request, which is the more challenging task, then they're already in the mode of saying yes and complying. And you generally want them to be in fairly quick succession. So you don't want to do one and then wait 10 minutes and do another, and then wait 10 or 15 minutes and do another. So they're in quick succession, and you ask for 2 or 3 easy things first, and then the more challenging task. I also like to think of sometimes asking them to do things that they really want to do. Like, so for instance, I gave that example of, would you go get the cookies and take one for yourself and give one to your brothers and sisters or something. So we often don't think of trying to get compliance for things kids want to do anyways. But if we get in the habit of asking them to do things that we specifically have identified, and it's something they want to do, then we can give them that positive feedback of thanks for doing what you were asked. We often don't think to ask people to do things unless it's something they don't want to do, because we assume they'll already just naturally do it. But if we get in the habit of asking kids to do things that they like to do or enjoy doing, and then we give them some specific labeled praise for having done the thing that we asked them to do, then they're getting some positive feedback about compliance. When a lot of kids, say kids with ADHD or autism spectrum disorders or oppositional defiant behaviors, they're often not getting very much positive feedback for compliance, and so that really helps build that in so that they're getting some positive feedback for doing what they've been asked. So that's the strategy called behavioral momentum. Give it a try and see if that works for you to help out with getting kids to do what they've been asked. I also have another video on getting kids to follow instruction, as well as getting children to accept no. So check those out if this is a topic that you're interested in. My name is Barbara Lester. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I have about 30 years of experience working with children and adolescents and their families. and in particular a lot of experience with children on the autism spectrum. If you're interested, also check out my channel on YouTube, which is called ASD Specialist, and subscribe. So thanks for stopping by.